From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big evening on Evenings LALATE as Jalapal steps in and has a big message about your fourth stimulus check update for Thursday evening. It is wonderful news. No less than two major announcements about your fourth stimulus announced today, and they're coming from the Congress and from the President. You're going to hear it for the first time here on Evenings LALATE. You'll also be hearing about that fourth stimulus check, how much you're going to get, when the Democrats are going to pay it for you, and when the details are going to play out next week. All incredible details on this Thursday evening's broadcast. Then we cut to fifth stimulus that we now know a little bit more about because of the comments from Jay Powell, your head of the Federal Reserve, speaking before Congress yesterday of all the breaking news, and that fifth stimulus that raises your benefits up lifetime and gives you another stimulus check next year. Oh, wow, it's wonderful news. Then the Mills video, we go over the big money, thousands of dollars you can get right now. It's a big night, and there's a lot of wonderful breaking news. We have all the details in this recording. We're going to break it down one at a time. It's a big night, it's a big evening, and it starts right now, direct from Santa Monica on Evenings LALATE. It's Thursday evening. Congratulations. You're almost to the weekend. You're almost to the weekend. Just one more day away. How's the weather where you are and where are you tuning in from? The heat finally broke here in Southern California. I can't stand heat, as you already know. And it finally broke. I had told you if you hit the like button, it'll stop the heat wave. It worked. So hit that like button again. If you are experiencing a heat wave where you are right now, it'll break your heat wave as well. I heard that work. So if you're watching the show right now, jump in the live chat and tell me where you're watching from and how the weather is. I hope it is good and improving as it has now improved here in Santa Monica. In this fourth stimulus check update of 2021 tonight, I will be going over the shocking great news that comes out of the Congress as Jalapal and another progressive in the Congress speaks out. And you're going to hear the great news about this and the analysis of this for the first time on Evenings LALATE tonight. You'll be also hearing about the president's side of the situation as well. It's wonderful. We'll be cutting over as much also to the details about fourth stimulus, how much you're going to get and when the Democrats are going to pay it. Fifth stimulus will heat up later in this recording. The fifth stimulus check and the raising up of your benefits, and more breaking news from Jay Powell, Federal Reserve Chair, that gives you an indication of where your inflationary rate may land later this year. And then the thousands of dollars you can get right now. We got a lot in this recording. So welcome. This is LALATE, the only 24-hour a day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. I'm next back with you with Overnight's Crypto, which starts right after this video. So stay with this video. It'll go right into that one. Automatically starts without no less than a 2-minute break. Also, like this video. If you've not subscribed, subscribe right now. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year. Next up, 1 million. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video and consider becoming a member. Let's get right into that fourth stimulus right off the bat. House bill, Senate proposal. Let's look at them and analyze them and understand what's at play in tonight's broadcast. House bill, $1,000. House bill, stimulus check for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year. Senate proposal, stimulus check, July to December. Let's compare the monthly payouts. House bill, Jalapal, $1,000. After the first month, $2,000. Senate proposal, monthly amount unknown, but word on the street is it's this. Oh boy. Yeah, that's a lot. That's the Senate Democrats, $2,000 a month over 6 months, $12,000. $1,400 a month over 6 months, $8,400. Now, if you're in the live chat, get ready to vote House or Senate. Tell me where you're tuning in from and how the weather is. But first, let's go back to this and something that may be at flux. And that issue, pandemic. Pandemic plus 1 year. Well, some legislators may contend the pandemic is over. If they do, that would reduce this to just 1 year of checks, 12 months of checks, $13,000 from the House versus this from the Senate over 6 months? I think you have an opinion. Jump in the live chat right now and tell me which one you like. Senate or House? Vote right now. I want to see you vote in Senate or House. Tell me where you're watching from and how's the weather. Let's go over everything else you need to know about that fourth stimulus check tonight. First, who gets it? You do. So the Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check if you got a third stimulus check. Single individual, $75,000 less, you get a fourth stimulus check. Married couple, $150,000 less, $150,000 or less, the Democrats would give you a fourth stimulus check, double it. Family of four, the Democrats would give you a fourth stimulus check, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, the Democrats would give you a fourth stimulus check. SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, there you go. The fourth stimulus check is not income, so it's not taxable. And the fourth stimulus check would come monthly. It would not come in waves because it's not a waivable check. So don't try to wave at the check because the check won't wave back at you and you'll call it a rude check. Hi, check, how are you? Oh, still not waving back at me, that rude check. It's not a waivable check. You can't wait. There you go. The Democrats in the House and the Senate would be calling this for a final vote by July 4th so that they would be providing you, those Democrats, a monthly stimulus check. They want the first check to be in the month of July for the month of July and in the month of August for the month of August. And there you go. That is your first of 3 updates of your fourth stimulus check of 2021 today. In the second part, we're going to go over the great news coming out of Jalapal today. Speaking out about next week's events, speaking out about what needs to be in a fourth stimulus, and speaking out about the president. OMG. And another progressive says much the same thing, but even more detailed. It's wonderful news. It's coming up in the second half of this second part of our fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In the third part, we're going to go over calling the vote. As the president has now set the vote for next week, I'm going to be explaining what that means as they're currently now marking up the bill. But first, let's get a preview of the second half of this video. And it's fifth stimulus. Fifth stimulus got a big update yesterday. And there's no less than 5 breaking news stories tonight because of Jay Powell's comments on Capitol Hill. He's your head of the Federal Reserve, and he spoke about inflation rate, which you all know is a big issue for fourth stimulus because it could raise your benefits up through the roof lifetime. That plus a fifth stimulus check, it's coming up in the second half of this video. But let's get some money. Let's get some money. If you're new to this channel, that's what I do. I get people money. This is not the Stimulus Psychic Network or the Stimulus Tracking Channel. No, this is the Cashing Check Channel. I get people money. Got people $25 million for EIDLs at the start of the pandemic to save their business and their homes and their employees' homes. And then later in that year, I got people $250,000 for rent utilities to save their livelihood before second stimulus went out. We're doing it again. So get a pen and paper ready. We're going to get a lot of money in this video. And if you must, I mean, a Crayola crown, but at least make a Crayola blue because that's what I'm wearing tonight. And we're going to get that. What are the monies we're going to get? We're going to start with some rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and homeowners utilities. It's a lot of money. The rent is about 4 to 6 months of rent, about $5,000. And what's important to know before we go over the details of where to get it is that each place has different eligibility. So if one has a no answer to you, reach out to the next. They'll have a yes. They also have their own pots of money. Okay, here we go. You're going to reach out to 6 places. City Hall, City Housing Authority. County Hall, County Housing Authority. State Hall, State Housing Authority. Keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage assistance because of COVID. You don't say words that they don't know, like stimulus or Mitch's Macarena dance ball. Say, Mitch's Maca who? Macaroon? Maca what? No, the Macarena and Mitch. That's a very bad visual, sir. You have the wrong number. Don't say that because they won't know what you're talking about. And they'll probably hang up the phone on you. So say the right thing. But congratulations to Tim and Linda who got that money. Not the Macarena money, but the rent money. And I got more money for you. And if you've gotten a penny from this channel or 100,000 pennies, and I've gotten one viewer, several viewers over 100,000 pennies, make sure you drop in the live chat right now because it inspires me and inspires someone else. In the last 2 days, someone got $5,000 for this next pot of money. Last week, someone got $6,000 to $7,000. Lynn Glenn got it for her son, for her mom, and herself. Gail got it, and what is it? It's SNAP. It's SNAP. It's wonderful. It is money for your food coming from Department of Agriculture. How do you get it? Reach out to Department of Agriculture. How much money can you get? A lot. Family of four in Hawaii now gets upwards of $16,000 a year because of 2 wonderful executive orders. One from Biden, one from Trump that raise your benefits up 15% between now and December. So that family of four now gets upwards of $16,000 a year. Wow. So go get it. That is your money for SNAP, about $16,000 for a family of four in Hawaii, $5,000 for rent. We are killing it. You're killing it. We're only at the 10-minute mark. But I got more money for you right now. It's $5,000 one of you got for this. What is it? It's the money coming back from your states when the states had overpaid you due to computer error for unemployment. Well, the federal government has stepped in and said, no, that was your darn computer's fault, not the citizens' fault. Return the money back to the citizens. The federal government has said, it's your money. So how are you going to get it? To the account you have on file. How do you track the money and find out when it's going to land? Call up your state and ask them to track the money refund to you, and ask them not to use the computer they used before. Because it won't work, because the computer don't work. Yeah, computer humor. There you go, computer humor. So now let's get some more money. And the last pot of money came to COD recently, came to Margaret, came to another viewer, Michael, yesterday. And what is it? It's the money back from the federal government. If you got to this as well, drop it in the live chat right now. It is the money you're getting back from taxes. I'm going to go over how much, when, where you're going to get it, and how to track it starting right now. First, how much? If you had $9,000 of unemployment assistance in 2020, you had a total tax bill of $5,000, of which $4,000 was your tax portion of the unemployment, you're getting back $4,000. Congratulations. When? In the month of June. Where? In the mailbox, unless you had direct deposit on that tax return. And can you track it? Yes. About 70% of the time you can track it. Go to irs.gov. Set up a username and password. Go in there and do a transcript search. 70% of the time it works. And it'll show the tax return you filed, the taxes you paid, and the refund check you're getting. And there you go. Wonderful news. What's better than that? The second of your 3 parts of your 4 stimulus check update of 2021. And it starts right now. Let's get right to it. Jalapal. Jalapal and Senator Brian Schatz, in different statements released today, came out with absolutely wonderful statements about next week's voting. Let me tell you what they said, then I'll explain to you something you've never heard until tonight on Evenings LA. Jalapal said that the White House has not in any way told us progressives not to do what us progressives are doing. Wonderful. Then Brian Schatz explains it a little bit more, Democrat out of Hawaii. Schatz says the White House has repeatedly reassured him that the White House considers the progressive priorities the White House's own priorities, and that the White House has not asked progressives to back off vocalizing them. Wow, now that's wonderful news. Now let me explain the significance and what that means. You know that for stimulus checks, monthly stimulus checks, are being pushed by progressives of the Democratic Party. You understand that. But what else is in the 4th stimulus? Ironically, the other provisions that are in the 4th stimulus that the White House wants, that are real big issues, are climate and also the CARES economy, which is not CARES Act, but the money for seniors. The White House has made emphatically clear that they are going to go to the mat unless they get that in there. And who supports the climate and the CARES economy platforms, priorities, policies? Progressives. Those 2 items are very progressive policies. So, what's going on here is that the president, for the first time, has 2 policies of the 4th stimulus that are very progressive and would only get support from progressives. And so what he's saying is, I'm loving you progressives. You're helping get me exactly what I want in 4th stimulus, which is climate and also the CARES economy. And the progressives on the other side are saying, we got your back, Mr. President, and we're going to do the other progressive policy, the stimulus check. You see suddenly, for the first time in 2021, that the president in a stimulus package is really aligned with the progressive policies. And he's made emphatically clear he's going to the mat, and the people that's going to get him to the finish line for this progressive policies are progressives whose progressive policies include stimulus checks for you. Wow. Now that is wonderful news. Which brings us to what the president said late yesterday. perturbed overseas, annoyed by the whole situation. I'll explain to you later in this video why he was annoyed. He said, we're calling the vote. We're not going to be playing this circus game anymore, to paraphrase him. And basically, the reconciliation process starts the voting process next week. He did it. He cracked the whip. Viewers were very excited that he finally put his foot down and cracked the whip and said, stop it already. Start voting. I'm going to explain to you why he said that in the third part of this video. I'm also going to explain to you why the exciting details, starting right now, that he anchored and finished last weekend. Biden did it as he anchored to the finish line, pulled to the edge of the finish line. The forced stimulus, by signing into law an international agreement that makes it easier to pass forced stimulus because the provisions are now in that international agreement, not in forced stimulus. They're about the corporate tax rate. I'm going to go over those details in just a second. But let's understand how we got to that point. We got to that point on the Friday before Memorial Day weekend. Leader Schumer announced not one, but three things. One, the reconciliation process had begun. Two, it will be done by July 4th. Three, it will be finished by July 4th. Now, how did we get to that point? Familiar name and a familiar Bush, Jolipal. Jolipal had written Schumer a letter saying, call the vote, Chuck. And that's what the president said now, and we're calling the vote next week. But Jolipal's letter was co-signed by 12 House Democrats. And those 12 House Democrats are among the 100-plus House Democrats who had written the president a letter a week earlier saying, Mr. President, when we do forced stimulus, we're going to put monthly stimulus checks into the forced stimulus package. OMG, now that's wonderful news. Can we top that? We can. When about 7 days ago, 7 House Democrats wrote the president a letter saying, we're going to be writing forced stimulus checks into the forced stimulus package when we write it up. Well, who are these people to say this? What do they do for a living? What do you mean writing it up? Well, these are the people who are on the subcommittee of the House that is solely exclusively responsible for writing stimulus checks in the U.S. government. House of Representatives. Wow, they are? Did they write our first stimulus check? They did. Did they write our second stimulus check? They did. Did they write our third stimulus check? They did. And now they confirm they're marking up the bill currently and that they're going to be putting a monthly stimulus check into the forced stimulus package. Are they writing a fifth stimulus check? They say they are as well. Wow. Now that is wonderful news. Can we top that? We can. Which brings us to what the president did over the weekend. It started on a recent Tuesday ago, and I said it was a little complicated, and I need to slow it down, so let me slow it down once again. It started on a recent Tuesday ago, where the President of the United States had to deal with something. The issue? The corporate tax rate. Corporate taxes are being raised in the forced stimulus to pay for forced stimulus. What's the corporate tax rate? It refers to the rate at which corporations pay taxes in the United States. Pretty easy to follow. Well, the president was worried about something. He said, I'm worried that if I raise the U.S. corporate tax rate, that U.S. corporations may leave the U.S. and go to another country where the tax rate is lower for a corporation. So he had an idea. Reach out to those other countries and have them raise their corporate tax rate so no corporations would leave the United States. And those countries tentatively agreed. To which the president reached out to his legislative team at the time that recent Tuesday ago and said, I like this. After forced stimulus is passed, let's say in December, we'll go back to those countries and have them sign on the dotted line. And if they do, then we'll remove the provisions for forced stimulus we no longer need. Well, Biden did it because he surprised everyone. And I only had that tip-off that I revealed to you a week ago. Biden surprised everyone by going overseas for his first international trip as president and signing into law the ancillary legislation that anchors forced stimulus right to the finish line because it takes out provisions about the corporate tax rate no longer needed in U.S. law. It's now covered in that international agreement, making it easier for the Democrats to pass forced stimulus. Wow. Now that's wonderful, wonderful news. And it gets more wonderful in the third part of this forced stimulus check update after the commercial break. I'll be going over what's going on next week and everything that you need to know about calling the vote. And my impressions and more details happen this afternoon. We'll also be going over what happened with Jay Powell yesterday that is wonderful for fifth stimulus. You're hearing it for the first time on Evenings LA tonight. It's after the commercial break, but something even more wonderful, the volunteers. If you need help with rent, utilities, or mortgage assistance, reach out to the volunteers. They embody the true Purple Power spirit. They're viewers just like you, helping other viewers. So, how do you find them? Go to the community page. Open the description to this video. Go down the description. You'll see an emoji of a house. Next to it says community page. Click that. It sends you to news.la.com/community. Click the link, and then you'll go to the community page. It has a picture of some kitty cats. They're not the volunteers. They're just kitty cats. Lower on the page are the volunteers. They're separated from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Reach out to them, and they'll help you get that money. And I'll be back in 60 seconds with big exciting details still about fourth stimulus and fifth stimulus after this commercial break. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Evenings LALATE this Thursday evening. You're almost made it to the weekend. But I still got more exciting news about fourth stimulus and fifth stimulus heating up in the second half of this video. How are you? Just joining the live chat right now. Tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. Also subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video. It helps the weather. Like the video. It helps the weather. It also helps the algorithm ranking. Hit it right now. And also consider becoming a member. Right after this video, stay with this video on this video page. It'll automatically take you to Overnight's Crypto, our new hit show. So stay here. When the video's over, it'll float you right into Overnight's Crypto right after this. Let's cut to fifth stimulus right now. A lot of breaking news. I know the first thing you want to know about is that fifth stimulus check. Let's go over that detail. Those House Democrats, they want that fifth stimulus check to be in the fifth stimulus package. Timing? I think that this would be a January 2022 check because fifth stimulus starts legislative efforts in September to a final vote by about November-ish. So that would make perfect sense. Fourth stimulus, 2021. Fifth stimulus, 2022. Breaking news number 2. The president has dedicated $1 billion to the Social Security Administration to ensure you get checks on time going forward. This is great for fourth stimulus checks, fifth stimulus checks, and beneficiaries checks. No more delays like we had earlier this year. Number 3, we learned yesterday from Jerome Powell that the Fed has changed its policies long-term, not short-term. So he will still be supporting this economy with its current stimulus at issue. He will be, however, doing 2 rate hikes in 2023, not 2021 now, not 2022 next year, but 2023. Wall Street liked it because it gave an insight about this. Now, number 3, the last breaking news is the Consumer Price Index and the Producer Price Index numbers released in the last week. They both show inflation's really going up a lot. And now Wall Street analysts are universally agreeing that we're probably at about a 4% inflation rate right now, heading to a 10% peak later this year, a lot more than we initially thought. So about 4% now, going up to a big peak, which is temporary or transitory, and then coming back down, and that peak about 10%. Now with that, let's go into fifth stimulus to apply that to how this would impact your benefits. So fifth stimulus would involve first raising up your benefits lifetime, adding that inflationary benchmark, which you're going to analyze right now, remove the asset limit, remove the marriage penalty, and remove the income exclusion. All right, let me explain how this calculates for you. First, they'll raise your benefits up one time. Who's you? You. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, survivor benefits, multiple benefits. Then they'll apply that benchmark every December like they do right now for next year's benefits. Well, for the first time, this benefits benchmark will be inflation. Now, here's what you have to hope for. That as we are currently 4% inflation, we're going up, that we hit that 10% mark potentially right around when they apply your benchmark in November, December. Because if they do, this is what's going to happen. Your benefits would step up, not just 10% next year, but lifetime. Because the way that a benchmark works is it raises your benefits up and never steps down. Once you get that benefit of that massive inflation rate as your benchmark, you're set lifetime. It's wonderful news. Then they're going to remove the asset cap dating back to a 1980 laws that says you can't have more than $3,000 on hand. Just in time to get those stimulus checks in your hand. They're going to remove the 1960s law. It says you can't work on stand benefits. And they're going to get rid of that horrible marriage penalty. Love is going to win, and you're going to be able to marry your longtime love interest. No longer fear loss of benefits, and no longer fear the marriage penalty penalizing you if you're married. Viewers like Sandy and Rob will be able to get married and no longer worry. And there you go. That's fifth stimulus. But there's a lot of other money besides fifth stimulus in the fifth stimulus package. There's a lot of money in third stimulus. There's thousands and thousands of dollars of third stimulus you can be getting potentially right now. Money that's application-based, not automatic. So how do you know what it is? By becoming a member. If you're watching this video and noticing people that have a purple hawk next to their name, they are members. How do you become a member? Click the link at the top of the channel, the pinned comment. Members are delivered to them via me daily, a breakdown of everything in the third stimulus, everything in the fourth stimulus, and everything in the fifth stimulus. So they know line item by line item, everything that they are potentially entitled to go get the money as soon as it's available, not after it goes away. So consider becoming a member to learn the money you can get from third stimulus, fourth stimulus, and fifth stimulus. Which brings us back to the final third part of this fourth stimulus check update of 2021. Wow. So much exciting details. Let's go over 4 items in this evening's broadcast. First, my personal message. Second, routing times. Third, fake narratives. And finally, fourth, purple power. All right. First, my personal message. You've been doing a great job. I've seen your social media pushes for purple power, doing a great job. And you've been doing a great job of distancing yourself from the stimulus psychic network mentality. This is not the stimulus psychic network, and you should not be at the water cooler or on the front porch talking about stimulus psychic prognoses, because no one can predict stimulus because it's a legislative effort. They're currently marking up the bill you heard earlier in this video. What does that mean? They have a draft of the bill, and they have a pen. The pen on one side has ink, and the other side has an eraser. At any moment, they could be erasing something that you really want in there. Or they could at any moment be writing with a pen into something, into the provision that you want to have included. So it's a very fluid situation. It's not a place for you to be predicting or to you to be engaging with anyone that wants to be predicting the outcome. It's important to understand the next part, which is the routing times. One viewer asked yesterday, can they do some of these steps together in one day? They can. The only ones that cannot is the votorama. It has to go a certain number of hours. So let's go over the 9 voting steps. First half are procedural, second half are substantive. Step 5, 8, and 7 are the most important ones. All right, let's go over them. Step 1, House Subcommittee votes on the procedural bill. Step 2, the House floor votes on the procedural bill. Step 3, the Senate votes on the procedural bill. Step 4, the President signs the procedural bill into law. Tow truck is passed over the finish line. Time to get that tow hitch. Substantive bill. Here we go. Step 5, the House Subcommittee that's currently marking up the fourth stimulus bill and potentially could put those monthly stimulus checks in there, calls it for a final vote. House floor, step 6, calls it for a vote. Step 7 and 8, here we go. 2-day vote-orama in the Senate. The senators receive whatever was in that House bill. 3 possibilities. 1, no stimulus checks were included by the House Democrats. The senators can amend and add them in there. Possibility number 2, no stimulus checks were in there. Oh, excuse me, stimulus checks were in there from the House Democrats. The senators can leave it alone. Or number 3, there were stimulus checks in there from the House Democrats. The senators can amend them. Step 9, the president signs a law. You are done. Which brings us to fake narratives. If you want to know why the president suddenly started cracking the whip internationally, say, enough of this. Call the votes next week. Start voting on the recon next week. This is taking too long, and I'm not going to wait around for this. Why? It's probably because one of the fake narratives really peeved him off. Who is it? Possibly Rob Portman. Rob Portman is a Republican who's a senator who's quitting. He's exiting. And if you think about it, any senator that's leaving their position would not get a lot of support from their party because they're trying to keep that control or that dominance of the Senate. So what did he do in 2020 when the pandemic was ravaging Americans in July? People are losing their homes and their way for all and their bank accounts and their jobs. He said, you're lazy, get back to work. I'm not going to give you FPC. I'm not going to give you a stimulus check. Yeah, that's Rob Portman. So suddenly, while the president was overseas trying to get this ancillary legislation done by the G7 countries, Rob Portman sort of inserted himself in the discussion as one of the negotiators. Like the president would ever be negotiating with Ron Portman. I think that really peeved the president. And that's why he said, I'm done with this. Just call the vote. You're just playing games now. Next, it's important to know that, and you're hearing this for the first time on Evenings LA, that these provisions that the president really wants, which are progressive policies like climate in the infrastructure bill, are the supporters that are going to get him over the finish line with this are the progressives. So that is why he is not moving an inch, because the people who have had his back are watching his back. And so when they want stimulus checks in there, he is going to just say, hey, whatever you want, so long as you give me my stuff as well from the progressive policies. Next, it's important to note that I think all the way to the final day, you're going to see fake narratives. And I saw a new round of fake narratives today in print media. I saw one publication that tries to look as though it's bipartisan. Unless you read it regularly, then you realize it's actually relatively conservative, slanted. Took the president's comments that he's starting the voting next week and threw it out the window as though he never said it, and started talking about all this stuff about Ron Portman and Pat Toomey, and it was so incorrect. So I really do believe that you're going to see fake narratives down to the final day. Finally, Purple Power Push. You have been doing a great job. You need to keep it going. And the viewers who have been telling other viewers to keep it going, thank you. I've seen you in the live chats. I've seen you in the comments. I've seen you in the tweets where Purple Power members and subscribers have told others, hey, you need to get your fingers moving. And absolutely wonderful. So inspire other viewers and get them going as well. Remember, you could just retweet another Purple Power post somewhere, whether it's creating a new post or retweeting what they wrote. Go on social media. Tag, who should you tag? You should tag Democratic House members, Democratic senators, but also tag Progressive Caucus accounts like the House Progressives, the chair of the Progressive House Caucus, the vice chair. Tag these people, because ultimately these are the people who are writing the legislation, fighting for your legislation. Social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Then if you don't use social media, the old-fashioned way, call up their offices. Be respectful, express your opinion, express your concern. How did the day start today, this Thursday morning? The new jobless claims number was released. This is people who are for the first time going on unemployment. This is not people who were unemployed before. First time unemployment. And what did the number do? Did it go to pre-pandemic levels? Did it improve from last week? No and no. It got worse. It got worse. It means, folks, we need stimulus. It means we need stimulus. And that is what Jerome Powell made clear yesterday, that he's not reducing or relaxing his support of this economy because we're not fully rebounded. We're not improving yet to pre-pandemic levels broadly. And that's why you really need stimulus. But also, you have a personal message. So share your personal message when you tag those elected officials or when you call them up. And with that, I hope you have a beautiful evening. Join me next on Overnight's Crypto. Stay with this video. It'll send you right into that show. It is a lot of fun. Viewers are having a lot of fun learning something. After 1 or 2 days, viewers are having a lot of ball with it. Diane was a new viewer, watched the show, got in at a coin at 7 cents, sold it out at 12 cents. Wonderful return. Just a little, that was her first entry, and she did it in 3 days, and she did a beautiful job with it. So congratulations, Diane. In at 7 cents, out at 12 cents. Just a wonderful, wonderful example of someone that learned from this channel and had a wonderful first starting experience. So with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you to subscribe to this channel. Share these videos, tag elected officials, make that purple power push work. Like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes. It helps in the algorithm ranking and helps in the weather. And consider becoming a member so that you're delivered daily a breakdown of everything in third, fourth, and fifth stimulus. Stay with this video. It'll send you automatically to Overnight's Crypto starting right up after this show. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a beautiful evening. Stay positive, stay on point, and stay with LA for more.